Hello guys, this is Blaze back again with another Blaze review. So, another one of these, huh? I honestly didn't expect to make one so soon, and it's indexed back to back at that. So yeah. Anyways, I'm kinda busy playing East 4 and 9, so the possibility of the gameplay for this video being East 8, which I recently finished, is very likely. Now, with that out of the way, the volume that I'll be talking about today is the Star Magical Index, Genesis Testament Volume 6, which the translation just got finished today actually. So yeah. Thank you, Jerry06, you are the GOAT. And for those of you who do not know how this base review works, I basically give my thoughts on the volume chapter by chapter. Now, this is only applicable to light novel volumes since that's what I'm doing with these base reviews recently, so yeah, let's start. Now, the prologue starts on the 31st of December, 2 days after the events of GT5. As what he said in GT5, Toma is fucking broke and needs a job immediately. That's where he come across a character that we haven't seen in a while, which is Kumu Kawaseira, and my god, what a beauty she became from the last time I saw her. Anyway, she has an opportunity for Kamijo to get a job, but it's in Shibuya. At first, he was terrified, but he's a desperate motherfucker, so he decided to get along with it anyway. And then he hears a female voice, introduces herself as Bolonga Succubus, and before Kamijo could even turn to see her, he was stabbed at the center of his back, her finger covered in his blood. What a prologue, to say the least. Okay, let's move on to chapter 1. Now, chapter 1 starts with Toma waking up to Sarah, calling him on the spot where he got stabbed. So at this point, he thought it was just an illusion or a dream, so he moved on to his goal, his job at Shibuya. Later on, he meets Otanis and Index with Sphinx, traveling from Academy City to Shinjuku to Harajuku to Shibuya, where Toma talks about Sarah's assets are now exposed, midriffs and all, and Sarah decides to tease him a bit, and then Toma talks about how scary Shinjuku is. Even though he's gone through the LA and London in the past few days, 2 weeks ago, and he also gone through the 100 billion hell that Otanis created, so Otanis was wondering why he acts this way, which is really hilarious on Toma's part, considering he is frequently traveling overseas, and if I remember correctly, besides Academy City, Tokyo is the only place in Japan where he stepped foot on up to this point in the story, so yeah. Next, his job. So his job is essentially a delivery boy and earns like $25 out of it by the end of the chapter, which he's really happy over. And then, with the currency he received, he struggled to know how to convert it into cash. Along the way, he meets a streamer in a costume, which by this point I wasn't surprised considering recently he watched a show called Ya Boy Kongming. That shows it. Also, amazing show so far. Recommend it. Now, back on topic. The streamer is a food tester. So, shenanigans about food happens, and by the end of the chapter, he realizes some new clothes compared to the ones he wore before, and realizes that the thing that happened in the prologue is real. And the same voice heard again. The voice sound impressed with Kamijo, and then Kamijo turns around as Succubus was trying to stab him, but failed, instead tearing a side of his flesh so much you can visibly see his spine. Really fun chapter to read with a brutal final scene. Damn, just damn, is all I can say, so yeah. Now, when it comes to chapter 2, I'll try my best to remember all the important details that happened in this long ass fight between Succubus and Kamijo vs Aradia, so yeah. Now, after the events of chapter 1, Kamijo was dead, then he heard a voice, then was revived. Then Succubus finally appears in her full form, which also, after that, another bigaboo female. Wait. Two of them? In a fucking index volume? Is Kamachi finally making his redemption arc? What the fuck? Has the time come? Anyways, aside from that, she is the goddess of witches and the ruler of the night, Aradia. She proceeds to chase both Succubus and Toma. Then later on, Aradia lost both of them temporarily. After that, Toma and Succubus finally talked, and oh boy, it's a long one. Now it starts with Succubus's introduction and proceeds to Toma talking about why is this happening to him. Now, after the events of GT5, the Bridge Builders Cabal, the Cabal both Succubus and Aradia are in, are currently split into two different factions, the Rescuers and the Killers. Now, the Killer Skull, as the name implies, will try to kill Toma because he's the person that Alice calls a teacher, which she did say last volume. Now, since Alice is potentially the strongest Tsuwaru character by far and Toma has the power to influence her innocent and childish mind, he has the power to make her destroy the world, though the problem is that the killer don't know how Alice would react if Toma was killed. And the rescuers, well, not actually Toma's allies in this mess, is protecting because the faction thinks that he's just an ordinary high school boy you can find anywhere. Yes, pun intended. That is dragged into this mess, even though they can also betray Toma at the drop of a hat once new info about Alice arrives to them. And after that, Succubus proceeds to talk about the reason why the thing that sticks the Cabal together is their common goal of changing the world in their own way. Like with Aradia, for instance, she wants the persecuted witches to be saved, but also has some flaws, like being unable to save the witches that she can't save. And Succubus, well, she hasn't revealed it yet, so yeah. But I know she said it was spicy, so who knows what that is. And also, Toma asked about how he got new clothes even though he has been stabbed. Well, the reason is that Succubus, after stabbing him, finds new clothes with the same brand and put it on him. Damn, this girl really wanted our boy, huh? Before the other girls did it, sheesh. And after that, they go into hiding from Aradia in a bathhouse because since she also has searching power, magic, whatchamacallit. And how it works is that the oil that she has around Toma and Succubus's body, so they try to wash it off while Arya was expanding her search range at the same time, which she eventually fights them and they have a fight. While they're fighting, Toma can't join because Succubus and Aradia are neck and neck with each other, and while fighting, Succubus talks to Aradia talking about their common goals, the reasons why the rescuers are doing this, etc, etc. And even though both of them got massively injured, by the end of the fight, Aradia manages to escape and heals her wound. Now, with this, Kamijo can help heal Succubus and fight Aradia alongside when they have another round. Now, in between the lines shows Alistair the Goat Crowley essentially quote-unquote rebuilding the entity that Anna Springle is based on, and the teacher of both Westcott and Matters, Anna Kingsford. Now, what a chapter of interesting world building and info dumps. Amazing fight that uses the ingenuity of the mind that takes the advantage of using the restrictions of the opponent. I think that's why I just love the magic side fights in the first place. They're really creative to say the least, and yeah, let's move on to chapter 3. Now, chapter 3 is definitely shorter to explain than chapter 2, so thank God. Now, after the fight, Succubus and Toma went to a hotel together, where Succubus starts to sexually tease Toma, probably the closest girl, or in fact, any other girl that has done to him so far, while the pure innocent Toma was just trying to heal her injuries at that. Then, after that, Index, Sarah, Otinus, and Sphinx meet up with them again, where Sarah and Otis were visibly pissed for different reasons at the sight of Succubus. Now, the reason why Toma wanted to meet them again is that they're magic experts and he thought they probably know about Aradia's background and weaknesses, where it was a long conversation talking about the witches that was created hundreds of years ago were not the original witches, but in fact just modified biased version of it. And some other interesting stuff about Magecraft, like not gonna lie, this is why I'm so impressed with Kamachi's world-building talent as a writer. Now, after that, Aradia shows up, this time with 100,000 more witches alongside her. And we get this long-ass fight where Succubus confronts Aradia while Toma and the others get away from the 100,000 witches. And then later on, Succubus was having the disadvantage as the fight goes on between the two. And then, seeing that, Toma decides to call good old Mary, the one that revived Toma twice, and it's revealed that with enough blood she could do the resurrection if she was killed. And since he was killed twice, the substitute for his missing blood was Succubus' demon blood, and talks about how she was impressed that Succubus can keep up despite losing a lot of blood. Toma talks about the way to get his blood back to her, and then Mary said it won't work that way. And when all hope is lost, Sarah offered an alternative solution, that is stabilizing Succubus' blood. Mary said it can work, and At the end of the chapter, the others ran off to find the nutrition needed with a 20-minute timer roaming around them. And in between lines too is essentially Araja's point of view of her basically saying her motivations and how the goddess of witch isn't enough and she would swear to herself she will become an actual goddess. Really good chapter filled with amazing fights and excellent lore and world building. Now chapter 4 is surprisingly short considering only a few events happened this chapter. One of them being Succubus is incapacitated and Sarah and Index are carrying her to a cosmetics clinic while Toma and the 15cm Otinus tap in for her. In the first half, Araja got the upper hand, but in the end, of course, Toma got close and proceeds to make an uppercut and destroy her illusions. And when I read that, as per any typical Toma punching fashion, I say, let's fucking go! Toma the GOAT as always! And that's where the chapter ends. Now, the epilogue follows the events after chapter 4 where Toma defeated Aradia and is trying to know what to do with her. Now, while talking about it, Sarah and Index came back telling them that Succubus is in a cosmetic clinic with good old Mary. And by the end of that, there's the final scene of Toma talking to his parents about money. So we don't know what happened to them. I guess it's in the next volume. Now, the other one, oh boy. It's basically Ara Springo being mentally tortured by Anna Kingsford, and her dialogue is somewhat cryptic because of how she speaks using dialogues. Here's an example. And my god, I love how the lore just expanded because Kingsford is just torturing Anna. She talks about how she sees Westcott and Matters, more info about Aleister Crowley joining the Cabal, the Coding Cabal for specific, and how Alice, another Bible, was born of the unique of magic made by Crowley. And the truth that Kingsford was the one spreading the rumor of Alice in Wonderland even though she hadn't met Lewis Carroll, who is the author of the book, for those who don't know. And lastly, shows that Anna Kingsford is in a whole nother level compared to Anna Springo because Springo can't defeat her even if she tried trillions. That's right. Trillions of times over and over. And yeah, that's where the epilogue ends. Wow, just wow. What an amazing volume filled with amazing fights, interesting concepts, game-changing stuff, and much more. Not gonna lie, it's definitely top 3 GT volume so far for me. I rate it a good 9 out of 10. So yeah, despite the video, I guess you can subscribe with the notification bell so you miss my videos. Share it with a friend and watch these videos next right here. So yeah, Justice Testament is finally starting to pick up and I'm really excited to see what Kamachi cooks in GT7. So yeah, until next time, bye!